They say Memphis don't sleep, and that night, neither did I. I was heading home from a late shift, still in my delivery uniform, hands smelling like pepperoni and sweat. Next thing I know, I see flashing lights behind me. I pull over, turn the radio down, keep my hands where they can see. But before I could even say, "Evening, officer," the door flew open. They dragged me out like I was guilty of breathing. One of them pressed my face against the hood and said, "Suspect matches your description. Black male, gray hoodie, brown Honda." That's half the men on this side of town. I told him, "Sir, I just got off work." He said, "You got off work? Prove it." They cuffed me right there in the rain. Neighbors came out with phones, whispering. And in that moment, I realized something. Some people don't need proof of guilt. They just need a color to blame. They say once those cuffs click, everything you say don't matter no more. That's how it felt walking into that cold booking room, like my words turned invisible. They sat me down under that yellow light, camera flashing like I was at some sick photo shoot. I said, "Can I call my boss?" Officer Cole didn't even look at me. He was typing, jaw tight, eyes mean. Then he said, "You fit the description. That's all I need." I looked at him, really looked at him. He was clean cut, blue eyes, wedding ring still shining, like he lived a whole other world I'd never be invited to. "Man, I just delivered pizza to the hospital," I said. He smirked. "Sure you did." He fingerprinted me slow, deliberate, like he enjoyed it. When I asked what I was being charged with, he said, "We'll figure that out after the lineup." That's when I realized this wasn't about justice. It was about power. And in that room, he was king. The funny thing about kings, though, they never expect the throne to crumble right under them. They threw me in a holding cell with two other dudes who looked just as lost. The walls smelled like bleach and sweat, and the clock on the wall didn't move. It just stared back at me, same as them officers through that glass. I kept asking for my one phone call. They said, "System's down." I said, "You mean the phone system or the justice system?" Nobody laughed. After an hour, the same officer walked in, Cole, holding the paper. "Looks like you got priors in the area, huh?" I shook my head. "Nah, that ain't me." He looked confused for a split second, then back to his paper. That's when it hit me. He wasn't even sure who he was arresting. He just wanted somebody in that seat. "Man, I told you, I work nights, not corners," I said. He squinted. "Don't get smart." But I already knew that was his defense. When they wrong, they double down. I leaned back on that bench and whispered, "God, if you listening, show this man what truth looked like." Didn't know it then, but that prayer was about to come for both of us. You ever seen your mama's face on a jailhouse monitor? Mine was crying behind glass. She didn't say a word when they let her in, just looked at me like she was seeing a ghost. "Mama, I ain't do nothing," I said. She nodded, but her eyes said she'd heard that story too many times before. She reached her hand to the glass. "They said you robbed that liquor store off bill." I laughed, but it came out broken. "How was that work?" Then I heard it. That TV in the lobby. News anchor saying, "Suspects identified in late-night robbery, arrested without incident." They had my picture on screen like I was some monster. That's when it hit me. I wasn't Jamal Bangs no more. I was just the suspect. When they took her back out, I saw Officer Cole watching from the doorway. Didn't say nothing, just stared, like maybe he felt something, but pride kept his mouth shut. Next morning, Cole came in early. He wasn't talking loud like before. No smirk, no smart comments. He just slid a file across the desk and said, "DNA came back. Don't match." For a second, I thought I heard wrong. Then I saw the paper, my name, big letters, and the word excluded. I said, "So I can go?" He didn't answer.
Man, I got a mama out there thinking I'm a criminal. He looked at me, then down, said, "We'll release you once it's cleared through records." But I caught something in his face, like guilt trying to crawl its way out, but getting choked by pride. He walked out, and I just sat there staring at my reflection in that metal table. All I could think was, how many brothers had the same look and never got that paper to clear their name?
When they finally cut me loose, the sun hit different. It felt like the world moved on without me. People walking by, phones in hand, laughing, while my name's still sitting dirty in the system. Mama was waiting outside that gate in her old Chevy, engine rattling like it felt my pain too. She hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. Then she said, "We suing them, baby." But I just shook my head. "Mama, I just want peace." We rode through the city quiet. Billboards, stores, kids running, everything looked normal, but nothing felt normal. Every siren that passed made my chest jump. And somewhere behind that feeling, I knew Officer Cole probably went home, kissed his wife, and slept fine. At least, that's what I thought. While I was trying to forget that week, somewhere across town, that same officer was sitting at his kitchen table, holding a mugshot that looked too familiar. "Jen," he said to his wife, "don't this kid look like who?" "Like Michael." Michael, his son. That's what folks didn't know. Cole's boy had run off 6 months back, got caught up in drugs, wrong crowd. They never found him. And now, staring at that mugshot of me, same age, same build, same look in the eyes, he couldn't shake it. For the first time, he didn't see a suspect. He saw a reflection of what could have been his own blood. That night, he didn't sleep. He kept hearing my voice in that cell. Man, I just worked nights, not corners. And I swear, somewhere in that sleepless dark, God started showing him that truth he didn't want to see. A week later, I was back at work, trying to act normal. Pizza backs in hand, fake smile on my face. But every time I passed a patrol car, my stomach flipped. Then one night, while I was dropping off an order near downtown, I saw something on a street poster that froze me. A missing person flyer. White teenager, shaggy hair, blue eyes. Name, Michael Anders. I didn't know that last name yet, not like I would soon. 2 nights after that, my coworker pulled up a viral story on his phone. Local officer's missing son spotted near Midtown. Same cop, same face. Cole Anders. God got a strange way of making people see themselves, don't he? By the time I got home, the news had footage of Cole searching alleys and shelters. He looked tired, like the badge had finally turned heavy. I didn't know it then, but that missing son story was about to tie our lives together one last time. Rain was coming down hard that Friday night when I saw the commotion near the bus stop. Squad cars, flashing lights, medics. I pulled over. Something in me said, stay. Then I saw him. Young, white, strung-out kid with cuffs on, crying. And the officer bending beside him was Cole. Their eyes met like thunder. "Michael, what did you do?" The kid whispered, "Dad, I didn't mean to. They thought I was stealing." It hit me, the same words I'd said to him days ago. I stepped closer. "You okay, man?" Cole looked up, and the shock on his face was something holy, like God holding up a mirror. He couldn't say a word, and in that silence, I didn't feel hate no more. Just this heavy understanding that maybe this was never about revenge. It was about revelation. He reached out a hand, not as a cop this time, but as a father broken wide open. And I nodded, because grace don't always show up in church. Sometimes it's standing in the rain beside flashing blue lights. Next morning, I woke up to my phone blowing up. Somebody'd recorded the whole thing. The arrest, the son, the shock. It was all over the internet. Headline read, "Officer arrests wrong man, then finds his own son in the system." I didn't feel no joy. Just a kind of peace that comes when God closes a loop only he could write. 2 days later, cold call. Said he wanted to meet, off duty, no cameras, no badge. When he showed up, he looked smaller. No authority, no front, just a man that life had humbled. "I can't fix what I did, Jamal," he said, "but I can tell the world I was wrong." Next thing I knew, we were both sitting in front of a news mic. He told the truth, not the department version, but the real one, about how bias blinds, about how grace breaks that blindness. And when it was over, I didn't shake a cop's hand. I shook a father's. Weeks passed, but that night stayed on loop in my mind. The rain, the sirens, the moment pride finally broke. I still get looks sometimes, like folks remembering my mugshot before my name. But I ain't better no more. God ain't in the business of revenge. He in the business of reruns, running the same test until you pass it right. Last Sunday I walked into church, and there was Cole, sitting in the back with his boy, head bowed. He looked up, and our eyes met. No words, just understanding. Pastor said, sometimes God gotta let the wrong man get arrested so the right heart can get set free. And man, that hit different. Because grace ain't about who's innocent. It's about who's willing to change. So when folks ask me how I forgave that man, I tell them, you don't need to wait till the lights go out to see the truth. Sometimes the truth shows up in flashing blue lights.